I want to talk about the cancer diagnosis, and uh, Greg Gutfeld of Fox correctly said today that you can be concerned for the Bidens and for the former president and still have questions about the nature of the release and of his treatment. Here is Greg Gutfeld just a little while ago on the 5 on Fox number 3, please.
The absolute best. Greg, is it fair for some in the media, including David Axelrod, now to be saying that we should set aside any talk about the cognitive cover-up during his presidency as he battles this cancer?
When they say something like that, you have to believe that that's the reason why they're breaking the news now. So you do mute and you do pause. The timing is telling you that this cancer is being used as a tool to deflect from outrage to sympathy. But get this, normal human beings, we can have both. We can feel sad for somebody who has cancer. Like Harold said, we all know people intimately who have cancer, are dying from cancer, and who will die of cancer. So we could feel sad, but that's not going to infringe on the space in my brain that is reserved and dedicated to this cover-up of his incapacitation. So you're not going to get a mute or a pause from me, but nice try.
Okay, so one reason I like you two gentlemen, and one reason I like my friend Joe Scarborough and look forward to talking to him about all this, is we're just looking for the truth. We're not dogmatic. We're not saying Joe Biden was a vegetable and he didn't actually operate as president, nor are we saying there was nothing wrong with Joe Biden and he didn't suffer any cognitive decline. We recognize that he had good days and bad days, and that whatever reality exists for historians and for people in present day life to grapple with, it's a little bit gray. There's some fuzziness here, and I appreciate you two understanding that and operating that way. So, as Greg said, it's possible to feel sympathy for the Bidens and concern, but also wonder about this. One person who's wondering about the timing here is one of the people I know who's the most interested in gossip and reads the social media obsessively, looking for different theories about things, and has never met a conspiracy theory he didn't like, at least if it was about someone he doesn't like. That's, of course, this gentleman. 2A, please.
Everybody, but it's given just about. And it takes a long time to get to that situation. Now, I think, to get to a stage 9, I think that if you take a look, it's the same doctor that said that Joe was cognitively fine. There was nothing wrong with him. Well, he said, if it's the same doctor, he said there was nothing wrong there. And that's being proven to be a sad situation. And the auto pen is becoming a very big deal. The auto pen is becoming a big deal because it seems like that maybe was the president who ever operated the auto pen. But when they say that that was not good, they also, you have to look and you have to say that the test was not so good either. In other words, there are things going on that the public wasn't informed. And I think somebody's going to have to speak to his doctor, if it's the same, or even if it's two separate doctors. Why wasn't the cognitive ability, why wasn't that discussed? And I think the doctor said he's just fine, and it's turned out.
If you understood every word of that, I feel very bad for you. First of all, there's no such thing as stage 9 cancer, but at least not that I know of. In any event, what you heard there was kind of a fever swamp melange, a souffle, a bouillabaisse, I don't know, just a lot of different
gumbo. That was a gumbo.
Gumbo. It was a gumbo. Thank you. It's a gumbo. In any event, that's what President Trump had to say. Now, here's what Hakeem Jeffries had to say, suggesting it's inappropriate to raise questions about President Biden. This is number 4, please.
Expectation that President Biden is going to meet this moment with the courage and resilience that he's consistently shown. Seems to me entirely inappropriate that at this moment in time, when President Biden is dealing with a serious and aggressive form of cancer, there are Republicans who are peddling conspiracy theories and want us to look backward at a time when they actually are taking health care away from the American people. No, as House Democrats, we're going to look forward. They literally are trying to take health care away from millions of Americans at this very moment in the dead of night. And Republicans want to fan the flames of conspiracy theories at this moment, no thank you.
Okay, so I see 4 strands to the Biden story. And gentlemen, I'm going to get back to you in a minute. I'm just unfurling some elements for your viewing pleasure. One strand is the Hurt tapes, which, because they came out on a Friday, Mark couldn't control the timing of his scoop, perhaps, hadn't gotten much attention over the weekend. I shouldn't say that. They got a world of attention, but they'd still be getting a lot of attention if it weren't for the Sunday announcement. So one's the Hurt tapes, which still requires some scrutiny if you're trying to have accountability and understanding. 2, the second strand would be the announcement of the cancer diagnosis. The third would be the book that's coming out tomorrow, which has been widely reviewed and read. So I'm not sure that the release is going to make much of a difference, although the authors will be doing more interviews, and that'll be interesting. And then the fourth strand is kind of the interaction between them all, right? It's almost impossible. The New York Times story, put up number 2, please. The New York Times story, if you have the luxury of being able to afford the New York Times, I recommend their story that's published now. Democrats paused their anger at Biden over 2024, but have new questions. The former president's cancer diagnosis prompted an outpouring of well wishes and sympathy, as well as some whispered uncertainties that reflected a lack of trust in what he says about his health. That subhead is brilliantly written, nuanced, and the article itself, it's really, hats off to the authors of this story, because this is a difficult thing to write about, both to be sensitive to what the Bidens are dealing with, but also to deal with the realities, to inform the citizenry, as we're trying to do here right now, about what's going on.
That was a delicious video experience. I think you'll agree. Now, what you need to do in return for getting to enjoy that is hit the subscribe button, be part of the two-way community, never miss a thing.